What is up, Napolitanos? Today we are talking about spam, scams, and hackers.
Okay, the first one we're going to talk about is spam. Now, spam is generally known as unwanted contact, either an email or phone call. Lucky for me, this isn't too, but I'll show you one. A few months ago, there was a man, and I don't know why he was so disgruntled, but he would just go through all the realtors on Google or in the phone book or wherever. This guy probably called up 100 different people. He was eventually arrested for this, to get you to sign up for his program, and his program was some sort of website. He called me up, and I texted him. I said, I'll call you back. I was on the phone with someone else. And when I called him back, he told me, oh, this is your chance to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've got lead generation. Now, as a realtor, I get lead generation phone calls all the time. There's always somebody trying to sell you leads because leads are the lifeblood of the business. I even went to this website. I would suggest you don't go to it, but I went to it. It didn't look that good to me. Like, in retrospect, it probably didn't even belong to him. But anyways, he was promising the world to me. He's like, you know what? I've got over $1 million and I've made all this money doing this, and I can guarantee you, six-figure income if you just, pay me, uh, $3,000 in advance for this. But basically, he was just selling leads, and I told him, on the phone call, I actually said, "Listen, I'm just gonna be straight up with you. I don't think you have $1 million, because if you did, you wouldn't be cold calling me." I mean, it's true. Do you know of any millionaires that are still cold calling people? I mean, it's not very common because, when you get to that level of business, your time is so valuable, and cold calling is one of the least productive uses of time in my experience. Does it work? Yes, it does. But anyway, so that's the number one thing. This is spam, and it does happen, but luckily it's not very common. Let's move on to the next one. And I get these every so often. The first one I ever got almost got me. It almost got me because we'll get text messages like this sometimes when we've got a listing out there for sale, and our website, we don't always know where people are going to find our listing. They can find it on Zillow, they can find it from other realtors' emails. We just don't know where they're coming from. So it's very common to get some of these messages, but what is uncommon is that people putting a link in the description, or a link in there. So in this one and another one that was like this one. Okay, so this one was the same thing, same idea. I saw your listing is a great price and I wanted to buy this. Click here. So if you're an unsuspecting realtor, you might say, oh, which listing does this person want? And when you click on it, what it would do is it'd take you to a Facebook login page or a Gmail login page or some sort of login page. And this one specifically was Facebook. And so you go, oh, you click on it, it's like, oh, I need to log in. And you just unsuspectingly log into Facebook, but you're not really into Facebook. You logged into their systems. It would just throw some error and then you'd close out. But what it would do is, in the meantime, the hacker would get your email address and password. So this one I would consider a scam. And the scam is the same in all cases. When you're a realtor, you are a big target of scams for one very important reason. You work with people who are going to be sending a large amount of money. So whenever I send out an email to anyone or any one of my clients, I always put this disclosure in here. And I really hate putting these little footnotes in. Sometimes you'll see them and they'll say, like, have a great day, or live your best life, or something like that. But I really don't like those. But in this case, it's that important to me. Even though I hate footnotes in the signature, I gotta put it here. So let me just read this here. Important notice: never trust wiring instructions sent via email. Cyber criminals are hacking email accounts and sending emails with fake wiring instructions. These emails are convincing and sophisticated. Always independently confirm wiring instructions in person or via telephone call to a trusted and verified phone number. Never wire money without double checking that the wiring instructions are correct. Please note, as a realtor, I will never send you wiring instructions. So that's kind of gives you an idea how the scam works. So if a scammer is able to compromise my email or my Facebook or some way that I interact with clients, the scammer will sit by patiently, like a spider or something, and they will wait until it's almost time to wire the money. So what they'll do is they'll log in as my email or as my Facebook, and they'll send detailed wiring instructions, but it won't be to the escrow company. It'll be to some account in Nigeria, in India, or in Russia, or in China. I mean, this is the end goal of scamming a realtor, is to get into that and then send the buyers faulty wiring instructions. So that's why, as a buyer, you should never trust wiring instructions that come from your realtor. Last scam I want to tell you about, it was a specific group. I think they were in South Africa, but what they do, and this is how the scam worked, they would call me, and they actually did call me. They called me and said, "Hey, my name's such and such. I have a property on 123 Main, and I would like you to go ahead and sell that property." Like, the first thing I'd ask them is, "How did you find me?" Because I ask everybody that, because I want to know, where to put my marketing at. And they just say, "Oh, online." This was kind of my first red flag, is they were very vague about where they found me. In all likelihood, someone just pulled a list of names and numbers of realtors in Southwest Florida, and they were just calling through them. Now, after the conversation I had with this person, um, first of all, they wouldn't give me a callback number. So I asked them to go ahead and send me like a FaceTime or Google Meet or some sort of way that I could talk to them, some way that I could contact them, not just them contact me, other than email. Because if you're a scammer, and you're pretending to be, in this case, the guy was pretending to be a German, but if you're not, if you, if you don't look or sound like a German, a FaceTime is going to be a dead giveaway for you. So anyways, we go back and forth, and it seems pretty sketch, but, I'm trying my best to verify him. So I went ahead and I sent him over some paperwork to sign. And then I said, "Look, before we go any further, I need you to send your passport to me so I can see, make sure we can verify you are who you say." So he sends me this passport. Now, actually, this was pretty good job. This is one of the better Photoshops I've seen. I've seen some terrible ones. But then I said, "Okay, great. So first thing I'd like to do is actually go look at the property and see what condition it's in." And this is where he really wasn't sure what to say, because he doesn't have any access to the property. He doesn't have a gate code to get into the community. He has nothing. And so he told me, "Well, just look up my property manager and we'll go from there." I'm like, "Who's your property manager?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know who they are. All my information was burned down in a fire." It's funny because this guy's tax record says he was from Germany, and he's telling me he's calling me from South Africa. So he didn't even get like his location straight. At this point, I pretty much knew that it was a scam, but but yeah, I didn't want him to, harass me anymore. So I just stopped emailing him, and he gave up. So now I want to talk about some things that we can do to protect ourselves. First thing we need to do is go to Google and type in their two-step verification. This is assuming, of course, you have Gmail. But even if you don't, Google has another product called Authenticator. So you can use this with anyone, but this instruction is for Gmail. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is having a password manager. So do a search for Bitwarden or LastPass, and go ahead and open that up. And what it'll do is it'll install on your browser, and then in the browser it'll show you. Now the reason I like this is, one, you can have much stronger passwords because you don't have to remember every password to every site. You should use a different password for every site. So what this will do is it'll allow you, and your browser will log you in. The other thing is, when you get sent to a spam website like I was, or a scammer site, it won't autofill in the password because it's like, we don't know what this password is. So let me just show you what this looks like. If you were to click on, in this case, that bit.ly link I was showing you, this was before Bitly had figured out this was a scammer. But in the case where it opened up, my Bitwarden was like, well, we don't know what this password is. Okay, guys, well, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Just some of the spam and scam and hacking attempts that I get regularly as a realtor, and some of the measures I use and I'd encourage you to use in order to combat that. Use a password safe, use dual authentication when you can, and never send money to anybody that is giving you wire instructions unless that person is actually the title agent at an escrow company. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, and have a great day and a great rest of the year. Ciao.